Show you guys is a little bit more tricky. So I would just make sure you pay attention to how this is done, which I'm sure you will. And yeah, it will go good. So the next thing we're doing is we're adding objects on this that look like they're floating around this boy. And really, we could add anything. We could add overlays, which are the black ones that you saw. We could also add pre-cut out photos. Those are also called overlays if they've had the background cut out of them. And you can either cut the background out of stuff yourself and make your own overlays, or you can use ones that are ready-made. And in this case, I'm going to use ones that are ready-made just to make our lives easier. Some I've cut, some I've purchased already cut. So we're going to go to File, Place Linked, and I'm going to go to, actually, I'm just going to go here and maybe let's do some flying books, because why not? So these ones are conveniently already cut for you. And already I feel kind of lucky because this is matching really well with the background. It has some of the same sort of yellows that this background does, and the creams, it matches really well. And so that feels pretty lucky. And so I can just start by placing that there. Now, to get it to blend even better though, I do see that it's a little bit bright. So I want to check a couple of things. I want to make sure that this brightness here looks like it matches with the brightness coming from behind. And it does. It looks like it's lit properly. And now I do want to make it a little bit darker. Your subject should usually be the brightest part of any work that you do. And yeah, so I'm going to take this, I'm going to move it to where I want. And then I'm going to go over, excuse me, to my adjustment layers panel. And so that's this half circle right here. And I'm going to go to brightness and contrast first. I'm going to clip this down. This means that whatever I do now will only affect the book and not the background. So I'm clipping it right here by pressing this, and now it's only affecting the book. And you can see that I can darken it or lighten it. And I'm going to darken it just a little bit more and maybe make it a little bit more high contrast. I have to do this by eye and just see what's going to look best for this picture. Yours might not need some of this, but you kind of want it so that it's about the same tones or about the same brightness as things in the background. And if I take off this clipping mask, you can see that I made the whole thing dark. Okay, so it's important to have it clipped. If I think this is too strong, I can do a couple of things again. This becomes a mask. So I can go over to my black brush and I could start removing just a little bit of that over here where I think the sun will be hitting it the most. And if I don't like that, I can just hit undo. Or if I don't like that, I can just use a white brush and paint it back on. So remember, that's the genius thing about this, is that it's non-destructive. You can just add and subtract until you've got it right. And you could not necessarily do that if you did this other ways in Photoshop. And I can also go in and I'll just click this layer again, and I can go in and I could fix the color balance, for example, and it already automatically clips because the other one was clipped, so that's nice. And then I could go in and just, again, I'm trying to match it to the tones that I see inside in the background. I don't really think I need to change any of this, but you might need to for your picture. So say the book looked like this and it was really cool. I might want to pull it over so that it's warmer to match the warm yellows that are happening in this background. Excuse me. And then you can go in as well and you could change the hue and saturation if you wanted to make it less or more vibrant, and so forth. Those are the three big things that you're going to use to get it blended as much as you can without doing any other trickery. And after you're happy with this one and you think, okay, this blends pretty well, then you're going to repeat the process by going to File, Place Linked, and finding another and placing it. Now, objects that are closer to you are going to be bigger, and objects that are further away are going to be smaller. So this one, I want it to look like it's sort of flying in front of him. This one, the light is in the wrong place, however. You can see that the light, it looks like it's coming from this way and not sort of up and behind. So I'm going to just turn this book a little bit so that the light is coming from the right direction. And then I'm going to do the same thing as I did before. Oops. I'm going to do the same thing. I'm going to go here. I'm going to go to my adjustment layers panel. I'm going to hit brightness and contrast. I'm going to clip it so it only affects this book. And then I can do, what did I do? Man, what a morning. I'm going to completely go backwards here. I'm going to get rid of that second book. Okay. Now I'm going to click on this one and then go from there. So now I'm going to go File, Place Linked. Sorry about that. There, now it's kind of in the right place. I'm not interfering with those ones being clipped down there. I'm sorry, I didn't specify that the first time. I wasn't even thinking about it. So this book is closer. I'm going to put it there. I can hit enter, and then I can go to my adjustment layers, lock it down by clipping it, and now you can see that it is working better. And I can make whatever adjustments need to be made. And there we go. I am happy with that. And I would keep adding things around him, maybe look like they're swirling. If I wanted to make something look like it's in a little bit of motion, you can add one more thing to what you're doing here. So if you want some of these to be a little bit blurred, you can select the book that you want, hit Command J to make a copy of it, and we're only going to blur this copy, not the one beneath it. So I'm going to go here. I'm going to go to Filter, Blur, Motion Blur, and then you can see that it makes it look like it's in motion, and you can use this to make it look like it's as in motion as you'd like. Now, that's a little bit extreme, and it doesn't even look like anything. I would probably suggest something like this, just to give it that bit of blur, but not so much that it's distracting. And now it will look like it's flying. So I would, if I were doing this, I would probably have some books that looked sharp and other books that look like they were in motion. And that would be an effective way of getting things to look like they're swirling around somebody. When you're done, you can take a screenshot of this screen, and please make sure that you save your work as a Photoshop file. And that way you're going to keep all of these layers here so that if something goes wrong and you don't like it, you can either hide it or you can get rid of it completely.